People who work at five-star hotels. What type of crap goes on that management doesn't want people to know? We don't want you to know that the people who stayed in the room before you were freaking nasty. Housekeeping gets the brunt of it. I've seen them carry out bags of used intimate toys, peel used condoms off of every surface, and scrub crap, actual human crap, off places there's no reason for human crap to be. The worst, though, was the couple that wanted a home birth but not, at home because gross. We had to deal with that hazmat situation. Screwed them as hard as we could with penalties and fees, though. You know the worst in it? It probably still cost less than hospital birth. The older I get, the more paranoid I am about how disgusting that hotel rooms likely are. A lot of lonely people going on vacation to end their life. Happens a lot but is never mentioned on the news. I've left the Do Not Disturb sign on the door all day because I wanted a quiet day alone. And around 4 p.m., housekeeping plus a manager came and knocked to do a welfare check for this exact reason. Note that I've spent a lot of time in hotels and have only had that happen once, but it makes sense, I guess. Lots of prostitution and all the drama or legal trouble that goes along with it. Corporate functions like conventions, parties, etc., where there's an open bar almost always leads to something screwed up happening. One hotel I worked at hosted a Christmas party for an investment firm, and two guys started jockeying for the affections of a female coworker. They all wound up on an elevator together, and the guys started fighting. The elevator went into safety lockdown. We had to call the PD and the FD. One guy went in a squad car. One guy went in an ambulance. We had to give the woman some clothes from Lost and Found because her dress was covered in blood and the elevator was out of service for 6 hours to clean it all up. There's always a ton of back-of-house drama too, especially among the execs and the junior managers. Affairs, backstabbing, a little light fraud. The usual. Yeah, I'd like 2 packs of light fraud, please. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. I don't work in one anymore, but I used to. This isn't really shenanigans, but the staff is not nearly so impressed by famous or rich people as some of them seem to think we should be. It was a fancy hotel. We had rich and famous guests all the time, and it was usually the ones nowhere near the top of the ladder who tried to be the most imperious and expected the most deference. If you have to try to convince us you're high status, you aren't. We'd provide polite, professional service for all of our guests and try to be helpful and accommodating. But being a C-list actor or whatever isn't going to get you a table in a full restaurant or an upgrade to the already occupied fancier suites. And if there's a severe blizzard and the airport is closed, we can't open it for you because you're too special to have to wait to fly out, even if you're a very important businessman. I found while working in one of the higher-end hotels in my city that the really famous people don't want attention at all. They don't want room service or staff hanging around. Even the welcoming group of the GM and friends is a bit much. Just go away and let them be alone. 9 out of 10 times, you would just hear video games or a movie from the room. They just want their alone time. It's the D-list celebs who know damn well they're not all that demand the attention. likely to prove to themselves that, see, they are important. And don't even start on people whose biggest claim to fame involves Twitter, Instagram, or influencer. Goddamn parasites who expect to be treated like billionaires, but not cough up a single cent. I worked in five-star hotels in Beverly Hills. Boy, do I have stories. A sheik picks up a hooker in the bar, takes her to his room. She drugs him and steals tens of thousands of dollars of cash, watches, and valuables. Husbands who will say hello to staff with their mistress on their arm on Thursday night and their wife on Friday night. Famous teen celebrity left a room full of needles and various drug paraphernalia behind for housekeeping to clean up. Middle Eastern royalty ships in multiple Ferraris and Lamborghinis to the hotel from their home country to drive for the week. They were caught drag racing later that night by the cops in the neighborhoods of Beverly Hills. Largest checkout bill I've ever seen was roughly $2 million for a guest who rented out an entire floor of suites for 3 weeks, promptly paid via wire transfer. Had to procure $100,000 in cash for a guest whose wife wanted to shop on Rodeo Drive the next morning. The local bank doesn't even have that much. We had to get an armored car from the Central LA Bank branch to deliver. As part of our training as bellman, we are to ask open-ended questions to the children to make sure they aren't being used for human trafficking when bringing in luggage to dad and daughter types. My dad works in security in the same hotel, so he often gives me a heads up if the guest with the child is already under suspicion regarding their behavior at the front desk for check-in. It rarely happens, but hotels are the breeding grounds for human traffickers. My significant other worked for a fancy hotel. The building owners, not the chain, the actual building itself, came to visit. He was on the Forbes Billionaire list. He was a nice man who had buffet lunches every day and tipped every staff member he saw a crisp $100 bill every time he saw them. Housekeeper walking past, $100. Bartender setting up, $100. Shift swap, $100 on the way in and out. This is how you billionaire. I've met a few people one would consider as VIPs, but only a couple of them stand out. Both had really simple tastes. This one couple preferred to dress simply, but they had bodyguards with them. I guess you get to meet different kinds of people as a hotel worker, and you eventually learn how to deal with all of them somehow. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!